Hi guys, this question is for Steve. I just wanted to know how much of your vision for Team Liquid and what you set out to achieve, did you guys actually achieve the split, and what are your expectations for Worlds?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, all good.
Yep. Okay, sweet. Yeah, our expectations going into the summer split were to have a full rebound from spring. It was such a disappointing performance, finishing ninth after winning back-to-back championships, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but some of which were out of our control. But the result was poor, and we needed to make some changes going into the summer split. Sometimes those changes don't always work out, right? And in this case, they did. And we've not only been able to accomplish the best regular season record that we've ever had, we have really gelled as a team with tactical, filling some pretty big shoes with Peter Doublelift, and to see the motivation and the results from all of that with our end of the regular season standing and what will hopefully happen, which will be another championship coming up this weekend. We've surpassed our expectations for summer so far. And in terms of expectations for Worlds, our eyes are set on a world championship, and that is possible. I know it is. We have the talent, the skill, we have the right leadership, we have the right coaching structure, and I know that there's a lot of sentiment around NA as a region and perhaps not being so strong, but we're going to show them that we're going to be ready. We're going to give it everything we've got, and we're aiming for a world championship. That's the goal.
Thank you. Okay, next question we've got from Eduardo. Go ahead, Eduardo.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So basically, right now, all eyes are on Tactical since he's the rookie, and he did, as Steve said, he had big shoes to fill with his role, taking the role of Doublelift. My question is for Jad. How are you gonna manage Tactical, not even being a rookie in NA, but being a rookie in a world stage, which is basically 10 times more intimidating than an LCS title?
Honestly, I'll just kind of let him be him. I think that's something he's been incredible at from the very first game that he played to summer split, even towards the scrims that we played at the start of summer. He's a young player. He has a ton of talent. He has a bunch of confidence. He has teammates that trust him. And as you can kind of see, I don't think he actually gets rattled that much. Even this most recent weekend, his game 4, when we were down, 8,000 gold and a 5-3 in the base, and he managed to turn it around and let us try and win that game 5. So the biggest thing I can do is I can put trust in him. I can believe in him, help give him confidence. But honestly, I feel like he's just gone to work. I couldn't be happier with how well he has performed as a rookie. It doesn't feel like that. So I'm just going to continue to treat him that way.
Thanks.
Thanks, Eduardo. All right, next one from Jamie. Go ahead, Jamie.
Hi, yeah, this is a question for everybody. Anyone can feel free to pick this one up. Steve just touched on it briefly there, but does the chatter around LCS not being as strong as other regions this year, and also last year's Worlds being disappointing for NA teams, does that put more pressure on Liquid to perform this year?
I think there's going to be pre-existing sentiment around how NA is as a region, and it's honestly deserving based on our prior performance, but it cannot be debilitating or diminish any possibility associated with NA achieving the title of world champions, whatever team it may be. And if that happens to be Team Liquid, like, that is possible. Yeah, you have to believe that. And I think there's been a lot of changes in North America that have been really good on improving the likelihood associated with that. Thinking back to prior to franchise and the investment that teams were making into coaching staff and analysts, well, that's completely been overhauled. We have a team of Josh, you may know this better than I think it's 13 at this point on the staff side, just for League of Legends, and that's analysts, assistant coaches, head coaches. We have developers now that are building software that we use to track information and data and present it to teach our players in more meaningful ways than was ever possible. And we also have the talent. We have previous world champions on our roster. So all signs point to this. And I know that we're up against that community sentiment, that world sentiment, but it is all still possible, and we have a strong belief that we can do it. It will feel really good if we're up on stage holding the trophy, right? Because that's the moment where it's all proven to be possible, right? Up until then, we're dreaming, we're hoping, we're anticipating, we're preparing, and we're going to see what we got. But I feel like there has been substantial changes that would lean in the direction of a higher likelihood for NA to do well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could just add on really quickly. In terms of it actually putting more or less pressure on it, I feel like the pressure is the same. At least that's what we're trying to approach internally. I think if you look at some of the format changes, adding an extra LPL team, adding an extra EU team, there's by no means do we come in as the favorite, and there's no reason we should come in as a favorite from a public perception standpoint. But internally as a team, that doesn't change your goals, and the pressure is going to be the same. You need to win the next game that's in front of you. So I agree with everything Steve said, and we just need to go in with the mindset that it's not lost before it starts. And I think that's what a lot of the conversation I have seen, at least in the community, has pointed towards. But that's not how sports works. Like, upsets happen, underdogs win, and it's all about maximizing your chances and going for it and believing in yourself. So that's what we're going to try and do.
Thanks, Jamie. Okay. Let's get a question from Parks. Go ahead, Parks.
Hey there. I have a question for Jet. Jet, you have been a caster for a while. You've been in the scene. What is the biggest thing you learned this split after working with and talking to the players that differs kind of from your history of understanding based on talking about them and creating narratives?
I'd say it's hard to point out any one thing in particular, but I guess one thing that I've noticed, at least with this team, is how effectively a lot of the players can cut out noise. I think a lot of times as a caster or broadcaster or someone who's trying to, see the big picture and provide the best storyline for the viewers, you're like paying attention to so much stuff, but how much focus that can happen behind the scenes, regardless of the conversation that's happening outside, in really zeroing in on exactly why a player is winning or losing and how much that can actually differ greatly from the public conversation is just really apparent being on the inside, kind of knowing what we need to do to find success, how we found success, and then contrasting that with the conversation. Don't want to go into too many details, obviously, because we have our own plans on how we improve, how we win, and how we plan on moving forward. But that's been a really interesting thing to kind of passively take in now being on the inside as a coach.
Thanks.
Thanks, Parks. Okay, we have a question from Travis. Go ahead, Travis.
Hi. So obviously a lot of people are going to be talking about the double lift matchup against with TSM and all the drama there. But Steve, for a long time, you and Andy have had a rivalry, and you guys will be facing off. And it does feel like maybe this is the first time in a while that there's a big concern possibly for you or TL. So I'm kind of curious, like, is this the moment when TSM returns, and are you nervous at all about what could happen there with, I don't know how much gloating Andy will do on social media afterwards?
Yeah, Andy talks a lot of shit without much of a record recently to back up any of it. There's of course a lot of great TSM fans and the TSM organization, but a lot of that is living in the past. There hasn't been any present accomplishments that are notable, and we made a very important change to the roster, and Tactical has stepped up. He has been incredible and fearless, and I am so proud of his accomplishments so far. Win or lose, right? But I think, I don't know the exact stat. We have to go back and look at it, but I think TSM hasn't beaten us in a while. It's been a long time, and I don't think that's going to change this weekend. I hope they give it everything they've got, and I hope for a great series for the community and the fans, and a great match. But no, not nervous. I think if anything, looking forward to talking some shit after we lose, probably, or after we win. Jesus, after they lose.
Oh.
No, I did not say that right. After they lose, talking. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've got time for a couple more. Dustin, go ahead.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead.
All right, great. How big of an impact do you think playing from your facility has had versus playing on stage at the LCS?
Yeah, I'd say it hasn't been, I can't speak to exactly how it is playing on LCS, but playing at the facility has definitely helped from playing fully remote, which is what happened at the very end of Spring Split and happened for a lot of our practice beforehand. We've been able to simulate somewhat of an LCS environment here. Obviously, the Alienware training facility is really well equipped with a practice room where the guys can go in and try and get in the zone. There's going to always be that difference of not having the kind of vibrations and presence of a live crowd there. But I'd say in terms of like the difference between scrim energy and like stage energy, we're still able to hit that in our practice room. So it's hard to say for sure before comparing directly to when we go on stage, but I'd say it hasn't had like a huge impact on our performance or even the performance of the league.
Great, thank you.
I think we can squeeze in one more before we let these guys go. One from Tim. Go ahead, Tim.
Hey, this is a question for Kane. Strategically, when you're building the play style for this team, some people might focus more on building for the really long term and all the way thinking internationally, what play style is going to hold up best internationally? How do we get the most ready for that? And sometimes it's a little more short-sighted. How do we win this next game? How did you find the balance to kind of design the play style of this team, and what were your kind of main priorities?
So I'll translate this for him. 일단 코칭적으로 할 때 이제 어떤 코치들은 이제 국제적으로 멀리 보거나 어떤 코치들은 이제 바로 다음 주 경기에 대해서 약간 이제 준비를 하게 하는데, 코치님은 이제 어떤 식으로 이제 이번 서머 때 이제 준비를 하셨는지?
멀리 항상 팀 리퀴드는 경기를 준비할 때 멀리 보는 것보다는 다음 주 한 경기를 이기기 위해서 준비해왔던 것 같고, 사실 그게 약간 우리가 잘 성공해왔던 요인인 것 같고, 지금도 이제 다음 주에 있는 경기들이 매우 중요하기 때문에 사실 지금 월드를 바라봐서 뭔가를 준비한다기보다는 당장 눈앞에 있는 매치를 준비하는 게 이겼을 때 당연히 팀 전체적인 사기 증진에도 좋고, 그게 저는 개인적으로 맞는 연습 방향이라고 생각을 합니다.
Yeah, so for strategically, in the past with Liquid, I think we have been focusing, our matches that are coming up right on the weekend. I usually don't focus too far ahead for internationally. For example, I am focusing a lot harder on the matches against, TSM and the finals for this weekend instead of thinking too much for Worlds. And I think that has been successful in the past with Team Liquid, making sure we focus on what's next for us and making sure we are winning those matches and making sure we have the momentum to keep winning and improving.